If you guys don't already know, there's a fake Filian running around on Twitter going by the name of Filian. I made a video about them whenever I first saw them on my Twitter timeline. Since then, a lot of things have changed. The account since I last covered it at 13k followers has grown to over 28k followers, and has gained enough of a following to attract the attention of other large creators in the space who have voiced their opinions and concerned on the subject, and one even included in their own news report. Looking into what both sides had to say, I think it's important if people knew the facts behind what's actually going on, because this whole situation opens up a hard but needed discussion that I think the VTuber community really needs to have. Now it's time for a short rundown of the entire situation, just in case if you didn't watch my last video. A Twitter account going by the name of Filian popped up and started lewd posting using the same model that Filian uses. This account got enough attention and they ended up making a fantasy page so that their subscribers can watch lewd content of them using that same model. After a while, their fantasy page got shut down for supposedly breaching terms of service, which eventually led her to deactivate her entire Twitter account. Since then, she has come back and started lewd posting again, as well as posting content to her Patreon. It seems like her comeback in existence has irked some other VTubers, which led to them posting their opinion about it, as well as another VTuber hosting an entire news segment about them. Which brings us to the now. You know what's one of the good perks about being a smaller content creator? You don't feel too much pressure to appeal to what you should do. These two creators did the right thing by denouncing the fake Filian and saying that what she was doing is wrong. I also agree with them. What she is doing is morally wrong. However, I want to paint the complete picture, which these creators did not or could not do for reasons that I will get into later. I want people to be able to hold a discussion and be educated enough to have their own opinions about this subject. Starting with the account Hoja-sama. She talks about how the Filian account garnered its attention by sexually role-playing as the real Filian on Twitter. And on paper, yeah, it's actually really messed up that it's happening, and if it was happening to almost anyone else, you would be able to sue them for using your model without consent. Unfortunately for Filian, her model is available to be used by anyone who buys a license to use it. Moreover, what Hoja-sama leaves out is that Filian herself is already in the market for making sexual content. She herself has a fancy account that she attaches her actual name to, and while she doesn't post any NSFW content for her viewers, she is still in the ecosystem. Using her main fancy account, she actively promotes her own AI fancy on her official page. This AI fancy account, which for a whopping $400 a month, can give you access to voice messages and make lewd and naked photos. These facts, at least in my opinion, changed the narrative from someone who's making porn using my likeliness and brand and is making me look unfavorable to the public to they are using the same model that I use with a similar name and I don't like that. Filian has the right to use the model in any way that they see fit, as long as it abides by the TOS. To me, the issue isn't the fact that Filian makes porn, it's the inability to control Filian's actions when their names closely resemble each other and they share the same model. Using that point, there's another argument to be made. How is what Filian is doing any different from what any creative who makes lewd content or fan art of another VTuber does? They use her brand and likeliness to create something and they all profit from it in some way, whether it's by accepting commissions for that specific VTuber or posting it on Twitter for exposure. Matter of fact, anyone can start doing what Filian is doing. And I know for a fact I've seen some other VRChat models that look the same as the real Filian's model before on Twitter. Personally, I think a line should be drawn when the person actively claims to be the person who they are imitating. At that point, it's no longer a parody and it's impersonation. Now, if we keep all of this in mind and apply it to when Fansly banned Filian's account, did they actually have any right to terminate her account like that? Spoiler alert, they kind of do, because they can terminate an account for whatever reason they want. It's in their TOS. but Filian is a legit name that someone could have. She also doesn't own the exclusive rights to use that model. If I wanted to, I can go make a fancy account and make part of that model and would have every right to. And if their names were too similar, why couldn't Fancy simply change the account's name? To purely speculate for a second, I think Filian and Fancy are basically in bed together. Fancy was one of the main sponsors for the 2024 VTuber Awards show, with one of the main hosts being Filian herself. It's not out of the world to see that either upon a personal request from Filian that the account was removed during this time. It's also plausible that Fancy did it themselves to potentially avoid confusion, but if that were the case, why not just change the name? Who knows, maybe they did it to avoid legal issues, but I have no idea personally. But to speculate even further, what if Filian requested the account to be deleted since it was affecting or had a chance to affect her bottom line of either her Safe Work Fastly or her NSFW AI account? I mean, if you really think about it, Filian was competing with an account that doesn't really post that often, and if they do, it's all Safe for Work stuff. And then for her NSFW account, it's purely ran by an AI chatbot. Of course, you can totally outcompete those two options, catering for the people who specifically look for that type of content, but you never know. Again, this is all just speculation. I don't know how these things work inside of Fastly or the motivations behind Filian. Now about the second VTuber who made a whole entire news segment about the fake Filian. Fallside. For the most part, he didn't really say anything wrong and actually explained the entire situation in a fast and easy to understand way. At least until he got to the part where he says Filian herself doesn't post on Fastly, which is true, but he casually leaves out the part where she promotes her AI on her Fastly page, which does produce NSFW content, which is right front and center of her profile.
The content she tweets is the same as what Filian gives on Fastly. This not being remotely the content that Filian offers on Fastly. Filian promoting themselves here without dress, which is not the content that Filian has on the platform or quote-unquote ever DMs.
I find this to be extremely disingenuous to the overall story, especially since the virus account that got dunked on in the video was most likely referring to that account when making the same argument that Filian has NSFW content on her Fastly. I also want to make it known that Fallside did have an involvement with the VTuber Awards, which is also sponsored by Fastly, so take as you will with that information. So I've done my best to give both sides of the situation regarding Filian, and I hopefully did a decent job explaining. My overall thoughts is that what Filian is doing is not good as a whole, and greater effort should be taken to ensure that there is less confusion between Filian and Filian. I also believe that the Fancy situation was handled poorly and dialogue could be opened between the two to have a compromise or potentially reach a solution on the situation. I would like to hear what you guys think, so make sure to leave a comment down below and I will read through them all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Also check out my Twitch. Bye-bye.